My name is Vanessa Bianchi. I went to the Augustine Institute and I got a master's degree in theology. And I am currently now a middle school religion teacher. Mostly that I've always had the devotion, and it was definitely Our Lady choosing me and speaking to my heart and being present to me. It was also my mother, my grandmother, my grandfather, my uncles, the Rosary. We prayed it, and we loved her so much. Pictures of her everywhere. It was just, I was born into a love of Our Lady, into the family that I was in. The Blessed Mother to me now is everything. She's my strength, she's my mother, she's queen of heaven and earth. I can remember as a little girl always loving her and just feeling her presence, feeling her motherly care. The Rosary means for me many things. I tell my students often when we pray the Rosary, I teach them, because I think a lot of people think that the Rosary is something we use to worship Mary or lead us closer to Mary, which in a sense, yes, of course it does lead us closer to Mary, but she's always leading us to her Son through the Rosary. And so I tell my students that the Rosary is like Mary's scrapbook, Mary, Jesus's mother, and that she has put together a scrapbook that has important points, moments, mysteries in his life for us to be able to capture and understand and to meditate on those points in his life. Yes, the Rosary is worth to pray. Our Lady gave it to us, and she has said to all of her children through her apparitions how important it is to pray the Rosary, because it leads us to her Son. And it is the heartbeat of the Church. And how can a body live without the heart pumping and blood pumping through the veins? So the Rosary is very important. I guess not thinking about it on the spot, what would come to mind is the fifth sorrowful mystery, the crucifixion and death of Christ. There's so much, that is the sign of God's love. And I often think about the 7 statements that Christ said when he was on the cross to us, specifically, I thirst, or God, why have you abandoned me? Or that's when he gave us his mother. So I prayed the Rosary when I was young, and then I would pray it during high school with my family, like on Good Friday or another holiday. So we didn't pray it as a family every day, and I look back and that's something that still I really wish that we would have. I think that it really would have benefited us as a family to pray that together. And then it was when I was in college, my junior year, I started to pray the Rosary every day. And before that time, so my first 2.5 years in college, I was not happy. I was very depressed. I was, looking for happiness in all of the wrong places. And it was when I started to pray the Rosary that graces just started to overflow. People started to come into my life. I started to pray more. Happiness was just, it was like a rushing stream coming at me. It was Our Lady. The world is boring. The world cannot offer anything of the beauty, love, adventure, everything that's inside the mysteries of the Rosary. Now, if you just pray the Rosary and you're not meditating and you're not really thinking about it, well, sure, it's boring. And I think if it's all part of your internal spiritual life, how you're living it, how do you pray it? You can't just live your life however you want all the time and then pick up a Rosary and say, oh, this isn't like a magic trick, it's boring. It's more than just praying it, it's living it all day, every day. The prayer of the Rosary is so important for the world today. First of all, the attack against women in the world today, we have to be men. Or, this attack that we have to have more power or the attack against, our modesty, our beauty, everything. The Rosary not only raises the dignity of women, but it shows us the beauty of the vocation of woman. And John Paul the Great wrote in Mulieris Dignitatem about the dignity and vocation of women. They are the crown of creation. And how better than the Rosary, Christ's mother, the queen of heaven and earth, the crown of it all, to lead us to her Son through the Rosary. Yes, the world needs the Rosary now more than ever. I would say to someone who says, I don't have time to pray the Rosary, what Mother Teresa said to her sisters when one of the sisters said, Mother Teresa, we have so much to do. There's so many people dying. There's so much hunger. There's so much disease. We don't have an hour to pray. And while they weren't praying the Rosary, I think that her answer can still answer for this. She said, well, if everything like this is going on in the world and we need to do more, then we need to pray more. So we're not going to pray 1 hour, we're going to pray 2 every day. And so I just say that because without prayer, without praying the Rosary, I think it's a danger that our works that we do, Pope Benedict XVI warns us against just being busy, but we have to pray the Rosary in order for our works to receive the grace, to be able to do what the Lord wants, to bear fruit. A special grace that I have personally received through the Rosary is, there's so many, but I would say perseverance. And perseverance on different levels. Yes, as a whole, everyday perseverance to live the gospel, but also I can remember times of just when, there is no way that myself, I could have kept going or answered this person debating me about, this subject on the church, or just being able to do what God asked, and literally feeling a signal grace from Our Lady, perseverance. And I believe that it has to do with the Rosary. Yes, the Rosary is very important to pray as a family. I had said earlier that the Rosary is like the heartbeat of the church. It's also the heartbeat of a family. And what's very interesting, I think, too, is when a family prays the Rosary, things fall into place. Not only from the hierarchy, the father being the head, the mother, the children, but everyone benefits. They pray together. Graces are received to the family as a whole. The children can learn how to pray. The children learn discipline. They can learn how to be quiet. There's just so many things besides the graces the family's going to receive that come out of it just on a natural level. Yes, so I pray a decade of the Rosary with each class at Immaculata where I teach, and I have seen a change in the children. I've seen a change in the school. I've seen a change in the priests for the better. There are so many graces that are being showered on that school from us praying the Rosary, from the children praying the Rosary. Our Lady obviously approves of this. The children are much more at peace. They're much happier. Grades have gone up in our school. They're able to work together better in pairs, or when there's group work at school. It's helping the community sense, it's helping the spiritual sense, it's helping the individual children just in their nurturing growth as a person. One quote that I really like about Our Lady is from St. Louis de Montfort, and he said that God made the ocean with all of the water and called it sea. And then he made Mary, or he made all grace and named it Mary. And that she is the dispenser of all grace.